YCS Vegas has come and gone, and I want to, besides the breakdown that we did earlier today, I want to kind of delve into some of these tech choices and a lot of the things that I'm kind of starting to see now. Alright, for the 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more OS content. So, YCS has come and gone in the dust storm, and you were expecting card prices, you were expecting these tech choices, you were expecting all of these cards to stay down in price. I got bad news for you. Up, and away we go. So, there's so many cool, interesting things. Like, obviously, like, Hashira won the event. That might not be the most craziness, but what you were seeing across the table was evolutions to Branded. Branded Expulsion now being able to summon the new gimmick puppet, whatever it is. It's such an ugly little thing. The little gimmick puppet nightmare, well, first of all, it's a nightmare for your opponent when you hand it to them, because this monster sets a condition on the opponent. Unlike the Ra's Disciple that we'd seen running around for how long at this point? How long has Ra's Disciple been seeing play? Come on, answer me this. All right, the fact that Ra's Disciple was the go-to card for so long, because your opponent really couldn't add it. Well, we've evolved one step further to playing this level 8 monster that says if this card is special summoned, you cannot special summon any monsters for the rest of this turn. So you hand this to your opponent off of Expulsion, and it now activates a condition that says, well, you can't special summon any monsters for the rest of this turn except for gimmick puppet monsters. Is it fair? Is it good? Well, yes. I mean, you are playing a pretty big brick in your deck. You can imagine the day that you draw the gimmick puppet nightmare, you look at your hand, you're like, yep, that's a discard fodder for any of my Albaz cards to get that clunk out of my hand. So, pretty interesting little tech choice out here for the Branded Expulsion play, but it's kind of cool. Red Eye's Dark Dragoon was also a relatively big one that we were seeing. A lot of people like, oh, you know, he bricked on the Dark Magician. There's not like much of a reason to play that. No, he played it as like a 2-of in the deck. That's actually something to kind of give some consideration to out here at the end of the day. If Dark Dragoon is kind of moving back into the format here, I think there's a reason to give some consideration to it other than it just being, you know, I think the thing I read from people is, you know, Red Eye's Dark Dragoon is the TCG's meme, you know, like players just want to play this card strictly just because they can. And I get that mentality when you look at it, but like, it doesn't seem like that. Well, it does seem like that. I'm sugarcoating that pretty hard. But overall, yeah, Dark Dragoon also got some play. Like, honestly, I think the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare was probably the most hilarious thing. If you want to see the list, it's back on the other video that we uploaded this morning for your interactions with that. Now, Labyrinth. Out of nowhere, Labyrinth I don't know why I'm saying out of nowhere, because I knew that like this deck was going to be a semi-relevant deck that you kind of had to look at here, but people were not prepared for this. Like, it amazes me that like you have all of this data, all of this knowledge that kind of runs across the room here, but like people just they just don't analyze it or look at it. So when a semi-relevant trap deck storms back into the room here, waddles its way in and sits down at the dinner table, and people are like, this is so unfair, I can't believe they made this crap. It's literal standard mentality of you know, combo player being angry at, you know, actual back row player. If Yu-Gi-Oh players had the choice, they would make this a 100% combo deck, or combo format, but that luckily is not the case at the end of the day here. So something I definitely want to point out there is like Yu-Gi-Oh players need to calm down at least at the end of the day for that. But overall, I think what we saw for Labyrinth showcasing here was actually really cool. Labyrinth needed the chance to kind of settle up in the format here and show people that, hey, we can do something. So your tech choices of traps, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh players, I guarantee you for the first time this weekend were reading Terrors of the Overroot, and they're like, what is this card, and why is this so good? Yeah, I guarantee you that was a genuine interaction that one Yu-Gi-Oh player had at the end of the day. So definitely some big things there. So overall, I mean, like, for the general, like, application of the YCS, it was pretty much what we expected, honestly. I did think that there would be a little bit more Sprite overall, but I think that Sprite is kind of in a position right now that the deck has to evolve. I think a lot of players are putting a lot of, not really understanding that we need to see this deck go through some evolutions in order to kind of hold on. Because obviously, like, the Sprite variant was really some of the go-to, but, like, I don't know. I think just people have not had the chance to process and understand where to go from here. On the good side of things, to my reading in the reports that I've seen, there was a Lyrilisk player that did get 20th place with his team. And on that team was also a generator list. I do not have the generator list. I do have the Lyrilisk list. I'm going to put that together for the back end of today. But that is pretty cool that even at like the back end of the rogue category, generator and Lyrilisk are doing things. That is cool and mind-blowing at the end of the day here. That, once again, and I told you when we made the other videos earlier in the week that you would hear these stories, that you would hear that teammates in the rogue category can carry some of these other decks on their back, all right? Like, that's the big thing. Also, like, you're a week 1, week 2 event here where players are playing this new format they haven't had the chance to really explore. And if you're seeing, this new generator monster coming down out of nowhere, capitalizing on things, and you're like, how am I beating that, or some bird plays that you haven't seen in a whole format. If you're playing these cards to counter these other matchups, and that's why like certain rogue decks like this can kind of creep through here, it's really important that if you don't get hurt by these tech choices. That's why my other favorite example here with this is, decks that can bypass Bystial's last format. They were able to kind of do things. And one other thing I want to mention here. MathMech had such a crazy turnover on Dueling Books data. And I genuinely thought that we would see some sort of MathMech list actually show up. But no, there was no MathMech anywhere out of the top cut or top 8 for this event. I was actually kind of interesting about that. I was really hoping that, with all the data and things that we were looking at, that there'd be a possibility of that. Now, overall, I talked about, at least in the regional category, we have Judgment of the Pharaoh. Madolche topped a regional this weekend, too. So outside of, like, your YCS very early data here, there are lots of good moving pieces happening within the format here. You now have new tech choices. You have a new landscape settling up here. Maze of whatever, memories / bad Gate Guardian support will probably be coming out this week. That's going to give you'll get the chance to kind of see how that set's going to shape up for the next couple of months of the metagame. And once again, I think the game's looking great. Besides all of the, I guess I should talk about that. Zone locking is a problem, according to the community. I've read so many cry posts being like, oh my god, tier format died for this. I can't believe this. Let's calm down for a second here. At least I can play the game, unlike breaking a tier elements player's board and they just fully recover it. That's not fair. That's not something I want to deal with. It's not something your mom wants to deal with. It's not something that anybody at the moment wants to handle. And that's a problem, all right? So if you're looking at this video right now, first of all, RIP to tier elements. Number 2, stop crying about the format. Oh my gosh, Robbie of all people saying that. We're literally in week 1 and we have another set coming out here in like 2 weeks, and the Trap Trick Structure deck. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work in the format. But you still have moving pizzas. Yes, you have moving pizzas within the format here. The format oven is still cooking those pizzas. All right, you'll get the chance to get your, if you want your big doughy pizza, you want your thin crust, whatever you want to make your format pizza here. Just decide on your ingredients and you're good to go. I can't believe I just fatted this video and made a food analogy. But all right, 'tis how everything's going. Are you happy with the format? Probably not. We'll have to wait and see. I assume that they'll clean cache tier format up here soon. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. See your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.